kick-ass witch, putting the K in magic. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you're watching a punk rock kitchen witchery video! What is punk rock kitchen witchery? It is something that I made up. It's punk rock. R-A-W-K rock. And that's because as much as I love eating a raw vegan diet, I am not raw vegan 100% of the time, and I'm not even sure that despite all of the enthusiasm, that's the most healthy way to live. It might be. There are some very compelling cases of people that are living without disease and aging at a very slow, impressive rate, and they claim to be feeling better than ever. I know that when I tried a 100% raw vegan diet, I felt elated and super high at first, but then I was too high. I felt like really charged up, and I did everything that the so-called experts say to do to make sure I'm getting enough protein and vitamin B12, which are the two things that naysayers seem to be the most concerned about when it comes to looking at the raw food lifestyle from the outside looking in. But on the other side, I got rid of some problems that I had had, some pre-diabetic symptoms that were worrying, and some aches and pains that had been giving me a hard time. It got my womanly cycle back on track, so I knew I was onto something, and so I started tweaking my diet, and I came to find that an 80-20, 80% raw vegan, 20% everything else balance was the best for me. So that's something that I strive for. I don't meticulously measure to see if I'm getting exactly 80-20 every single day. It's just something I aim for. Some days I only eat 50% raw vegan, and some days I eat 100. It just depends. The thing about nutrition and diet as a lifestyle that strikes me very profoundly is the relationship between diet and dogma. It seems to have a lot in common with religion, that whole my God is better than your God and you're all going to hell unless you believe what I believe kind of mentality. I see that in the food industry. There is so much debate, and it can get quite confusing if, like me, you're a person who is in pursuit of the truth. There is the paleo diet, paleo, however you say that. There is the effort led up by Daniel Vitalis to rewild ourselves and to eat wild game. The raw food diehards really hate Daniel because he was a raw foodist and then he abandoned them and started eating meat and dairy, and that really pissed a lot of people off. I happen to love Daniel Vitalis because I like anybody who just has that punk rock spirit and thinks for themselves, and he seems like a real truth seeker to me. So whether he's found the truth or not, I find him interesting and I enjoy listening to what he has to say. There's the macrobiotic crowd and the cooked vegan people. And let's not forget about the fruitarians, some of the most die-hard people when it comes to diet and nutrition. There are people who measure and count every single calorie and live on a calorie restriction diet. And then of course there's the standard American diet, which I personally think is a joke, but if you want to eat that way, be my guest. I won't judge you, I just don't want to eat that way myself. My food journey, I guess, began in high school when I was extremely underweight and determined to pack on a few pounds so people would stop picking on me and telling me I looked anorexic. So I got into bodybuilding and I started reading men's fitness magazines and eventually women's fitness magazines and really focused on eating protein and also something called carbo loading, which I did before my workouts. And for a long time I thought that this was a healthy way to live. And then later on in life, many years later, I stumbled on the work of Evan Perricone, and he was the first person that I ever heard talk about diet as a beauty tool. And his whole thing was eat a lot of fish, eat a lot of salmon, eat a lot of protein, and fat. So I experimented with that for a while. I thought that was interesting. And then Julia Ross, MD, blew my mind. I had been struggling with anxiety and depression forever. I had been trying to address those issues with spirituality, self-help, self-development, motivational programs. I was trying my brains out, but when I found the work of Julia Ross, MD, she's got 2 books, one called The Diet Cure and one called The Mood Cure. When I found her work, it changed my life, and something clicked in me, and I realized, wow, like that old saying, let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food, there is something to that. She is the person that got me off gluten and dairy, which was transformative for both me and my son. My son has autism, and actually a neurologist suggested that I take him off milk. So that was technically my first introduction to a milk-free diet. And Julia Ross, MD, had me going milk-free myself, and it cleared up the acne that I had been suffering from forever, and going off gluten dramatically improved my life in terms of giving me energy. I had been having some problems feeling lethargic and really heavy, which caused depression. And then it was kind of a vicious cycle. The depression would cause more lethargy, and the lethargy would cause more depression, and then I would eat more bread, and it just went in a circle like that. Years after that, I'm feeling very good, not only doing the diet, but also taking supplements like 5-HTP, DLPA, tyrosine, GABA, all excellent things to experiment with if you are suffering from depression. They're just natural amino acids. I highly recommend that you pick up a copy of one of her books so you can learn from her about how to utilize those supplements in your program. Anyway, on to the raw foodness. I wanted to take my diet further once I learned that it was really affecting my mental health. I wanted to live a sober life. I wanted to not need drugs to be okay, whether prescribed by a doctor or smoking a plant. I wanted to just be myself and be okay with myself and have enough energy and peace of mind to get through my day. And once I realized that food was a key component to that, I got really into health and nutrition and started experimenting with a raw food lifestyle. There are tons of YouTubers on the internet that are experts at this, lots of conflicting opinions, but it's worth listening to them all because I really believe that that's how you form your own philosophy. And I think that the reason why people are so dogmatic and think that their truth is the truth is because once something changes your life so profoundly, you want to share it with other people, and you feel like you finally found the truth that you've been looking for all along. And it probably is the truth for you. You finally found what works for you. But who's to say that that's going to work for everybody? I don't think that anyone has a monopoly on the truth, whether it comes to religion or food. So I'm just anti-dogma across the board. I feel like experimenting, getting in tune and in touch with your body is the best way to approach living the kick-ass life of your dreams and putting nutrition into that equation. And the reason that I wanted to do this video is that I'm going to be making a lot of punk rock kitchen witchery videos, which will mostly feature raw vegan food, but I didn't want to give you the idea that I'm 100% raw vegan. I am a part-time raw vegan, a punk rock raw vegan. And one thing that I do think that everybody can take from this lifestyle is to drink a green smoothie every single day. I believe that getting raw, organic greens into your diet on a daily basis, regardless of how you eat, even if you're eating Twinkies the rest of the time, that it can be transformative informative. It's a great first step for experimenting with a raw food diet, and even if you don't ever want to go there, it still is going to have enormous health benefits. It's going to improve your skin, your energy levels, your workouts, and your health. So here's the basic smoothie that I make for myself just about every single day. It varies, the ingredients vary depending on the season or my mood that day or whatever's in the refrigerator. But mainly, it starts with this. Amazing Grass Green Superfood. This puppy is filled with organic green goodness, and I use either this one or a protein powder they have, and it's just lots of superfoods. Everything's organic, and I like to get a little extra boost to my smoothie. You don't have to add a protein powder or a green powder to your smoothie. I just like to. But this should be at the heart of your smoothie. This is kale. This is my favorite green ingredient, but you can also use spinach or colored greens. I'll sometimes tear colored greens up and throw them in the blender, or any green that you have in your refrigerator, as long as it's organic, because you don't really want to be drinking a bunch of pesticides. Magical! A banana for sweetness and potassium, and coconut water. I think it's best to use fresh, young, green Thai coconuts, but this works in a pinch, and it's convenient and not so expensive. I get this at Whole Foods, as well as this. And then sometimes when I'm feeling up in the cash department, I add a little maca powder, which is a cool adaptogen brute. And I often add some berries. These are organic, these are organic blueberries. I like raspberries too. Papaya is also a really good thing to add. And then you just blend it all up together. Woo! It tastes good, it's fast, it's easy, convenient. Kick-ass! Most people have a blender. A lot of people are into juicing, but I'm in Camp Smoothie. I prefer smoothies because I like to eat the fruits and vegetables in the whole state that nature intended them to be in. I think that separating the fiber out is probably not the best idea on a regular basis. The juicing, it's very energizing, and it definitely will give you a jolt, but I think that the fiber is there to slow the release time so that you have a sustained sense of energy rather than a huge spike in your energy levels and then the inevitable crash. So smoothies it is. That's just my opinion. Maybe you have a different opinion. Maybe you care to share it with me. I'm all ears. Cheers! Much love. Peace.